everybody. Welcome to tonight's edition of Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and Corey.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you back.
Unlocking Your Truth is a talk show about metaphysics and spirituality. And every week we have a 1 hour show on that particular subject matter. We are a radio show and we broadcast on 101.7 FM across the Fraser Valley from the unceded territory of the Stolo Nation. And the show also goes to all the major podcasting platforms. And 1 week in advance, we pre-record the show to a live audience on the Awaken Your Psychic Abilities Facebook group and on my YouTube channel. So this week, we're talking about using your intuition to make decisions. Something we all want to do, right? And sometimes it seems easier said than done. So that's what we're going to talk about this evening. And I think I'm going to start with the easier said than done part of it. And then we'll go on to the how to go about doing it part of it.
I can't wait to hear this. This is going to be interesting.
And so the first part I've called discernment and dithering. Have you ever experienced dithering in making decisions, or ever known a ditherer?
I'm sorry.
What causes dithering?
Yeah, dithering.
Because, you know, whenever you've got a decision to make, you can have input coming from various aspects of yourself. You know, we often talk, don't we, in the spiritual realm about body, mind, and spirit. So there's 3 aspects right there. Are they always all in alignment when we come to make a decision? Maybe, maybe not. And not only that, there are often other people, aren't there, that want to have an input into your life and your decisions.
No, I'm sorry. You did it to me. You gave me a word that I can't get out of my head, and it's hilarious. Sorry.
Just so you need to know, out of all of these different incoming messages and voices, what's your true intuition? You need to be able to discern what's the true voice of my intuition versus what does my husband or wife want me to do, or versus what does that voice of my mother or my father that I've internalized since I was a child want me to do. So you need to discern non-supportive messages from your higher information. And so that is what we're going to talk about. And so let's talk about where some of these different inputs into a decision might come from. And the first one is your physical body. So you've probably often heard me saying on this show, you're not your body, but your body is your vessel. It's your physical instrument. It's the vehicle that carries you through your earthly life and earthly experience. It does have sensory apparatus, but that sensory apparatus is primarily helping it navigate the physical world. So your body will tell you things about the experience it's having in the physical world. But is that your intuition? No, because your intuition comes from your higher being, and your body is not your higher being. It is a creation of your higher being that you are implanting into physical reality and having go through different experiences. So in any decision, we've got the body to take into account. What is your body saying? And sometimes your body might be in alignment, and sometimes it might be fighting you. It might be resisting you. It might be in a state of abject fear of the unknown. So your body can be sending you all kinds of messages. So what we might want to say in the face of making an important decision, well, what is my body saying? You know, is it comfortable or is it concerned? If so, what's it concerned about? And one of the best ways to tune into how the body is feeling is to listen to its emotion. How is my body feeling? What's my main emotion? When I think about this decision, what's my main emotion? Is it fear, or is it excitement? Because if it's excitement, maybe your body's in alignment and all the energy is moving smoothly. But if it's in fear, then maybe it's in some level of resistance that you then need to address what that is to do with. So number one, the physical body will give you messages about your decision-making process. And you need to listen to them, take them into consideration, but that's not the same as what your higher being is telling you. Number two, another kind of input, I've said your energy body or your energy field. So we have our physical body and we have this energy field. And this energy field is reflective of our thoughts, our memories, our beliefs, past time experiences. All kinds of things can be stored in there. And perhaps in someone who does a lot of spiritual work, it might be quite clear and easy for it to fall into alignment with the higher being. But perhaps for someone who doesn't, then there can be all kinds of things that are out of alignment and cause a conflict. So what is the input coming from your energy body? Are you being triggered? Is some kind of old past time traumatic event? Maybe you're looking at moving house, but the last time you moved house when you were a child, your parents got divorced. There can be all kinds of things going on in your energy system that can interfere with your ability to make a clear, grounded, present time decision based on your intuition. So when we look at making a decision, it's, what's coming up for me? In what way am I triggered? What kinds of thoughts, what kinds of memories are being triggered? What kinds of hard-headed limiting beliefs am I banging my head against? And also, where are these things stored within my energy field? So we need to take all of that into consideration as well. That can be another form of input that we have to navigate through when we're trying to discern what is my intuition telling me. So number one, physical body. Number two, energy body. Number three, ego and intellect. I've kind of bundled them together. And so your intellect is trained in decision-making, weighing up pros and cons, evaluating the situation, putting two columns, the column for and the column against. How many things are in this column? So you can get into analysis paralysis with your intellect. And your intellect isn't your intuition. Again, it's part of the physical body system for helping you navigate physical reality. But if you get into analysis paralysis, then you can tie yourself up in 1,000 things. You can find yourself in a lot of doubt, and then you can find yourself very, very stuck and unable to make a decision, starting to be a bit dithery. And then the ego, that self-made construct. Eckhart Tolle calls it the pain body, different words for it. Your inner critic, your outer judge, your thing that says, oh no, I'm worthless. I'm not worth making this positive decision. Things always go wrong for me. All of those kinds of things that we carry around as a burden can interfere with our ability to listen to our intuition and also to take action on our intuition. Because if we have a judging ego that beats us up and says that we're rubbish, we're worthless, we can't do anything, we're never going to get it right, well, that's a big impediment. All right, number 4, and this is the main ditherer one, I think. The main ditherer one, other egos, other people's egos. What do other people want you to decide? Who else is involved? Are they interfering? How are they interfering? How much are they influencing or confusing you? Because sometimes decisions are joint decisions and you need to, have a collective agreement. But sometimes it's just you and your mother's in there and your sister's in there and your friend is in there, and everyone has their 10 cents worth. And they're all in your space with their opinion about what you should do. And that makes you feel very overwhelming, very uncertain. And if what they're wanting is different than what you're wanting, very, very dillery, very, very unsure about what it is that you want, because their energy is in there, making a bit of a bit of a hodgepodge of it. So you need to look at that. What other egos are involved and how much are they influencing you? Are they in your space, causing confusion? Right. And then number 5, finally, after we go through all of those 4 things that can cause us to dither and can confuse us, like our body, what's stored in our energy field, our ego, our intellect, and other people and their egos. Finally, spirit, your intuition and how your intuition arrives into your conscious awareness. And so the intuition can arrive in many different forms into your consciousness. So sometimes it can be a kind of knowing. So if you can get yourself into a meditative state and clear the field and tune into that sense of being and knowing, simply being and knowing yourself, knowing your truth, and knowing what it is that you want to do. Your intuition can come in a feeling in your heart where you feel a sense of passion, a magnetic pull in a certain direction, where it just feels right to you to move in this direction, and somehow it doesn't, your inner compass is telling you not to go that way, but to go this way. Or your intuition could be your inner voice, a voice that you hear that is the voice of your own higher being, telling you what's in your best interests. Or it could be the voice of a trusted guide that you listen to. Or it could be that you see a symbol or a sign or a synchronicity or a vision about this particular decision that you are considering making. So these are all ways in which your intuition can show up. And if you allow all of those other 4 categories of voices to be screaming loud, it can be very, very hard for you to listen to that intuitive voice. It's always there, but it's often drowned out by all of those other things and all of those other voices. So I'm going to share with you, and I might just wait until after the break, I'm going to share with you a 3-step process to help us navigate this conundrum. The conundrum of how do I use my intuition to make decisions? How do I know it's my intuition? And, maybe we should also say, well, when should we use our intuition to make a decision, and when should we use our intellect to make a decision? And should we always follow our intuition? And, you know, one thing I know for sure is your intuition, the voice of your own divine source, your own higher being, is always the ultimate source of guidance for you. Always has your best interests in mind, will always lovingly support you and take you in the direction of your highest and greatest good. Sometimes your highest and greatest good does involve learning some lessons along your path. But it will never take you down a pathway that, you know, causes you to be in an out of alignment. Time to go for the break. We'll be back and we will share a process for intuitive decision making.
Sounds exciting.
Yes. Welcome back, listeners, to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and Corey.
Hello, everybody.
Talking about intuitive decision making. And so now in part one, we talked about these multiple perspectives, these different information inputs. When we want to make a decision, we've got many different inputs of information coming from many different places, and they're not all the intuition. So how do we discern them? And how do we navigate our way through them? So I've got a 3-step process. I was trying to think of a name for it, and I've called it Clear, Hear, Steer. Couldn't think of a better name. Clear, Hear, Steer.
Good thing you're not dithering.
Good thing I'm not dithering. Yes. Yeah. And actually, it has a lot to do with acknowledging body and spirit, and what's body and what's spirit, and also the relationship between body and spirit. But anyway, my Clear, Hear, Steer process. Number 1, clear out of alignment messages. So we were talking about this in the first part. Okay, so what are other egos saying? So when you've got this decision to make, spend some time to meditate and sift out, well, okay, where's the information coming from? Well, this is coming from my friend. This is coming from my child. This is coming from my husband. So clear out of alignment messages that come from other people. Clear out of alignment messages that come from your own ego, your own egoic consciousness, which is not the same as your intuition. And also from your own system, from your own energy field, clear any past time energy and experiences that are interfering with your ability to make a decision now. Let's say that you have, let's say, for example, you have always found yourself in challenging relationships, one after another, after another, after another. So next time you meet somebody, that clouds your judgment, right? You've built a story and a lot of energy around that story. And if you haven't processed it and cleared it out of your path, then it's very difficult for you to see clearly the new situation purely for what it is. Past time programming, just ways of being, ways of behaving unconsciously that cause you to go one way or another. So number 1, clear out of alignment energy so that you can be making the decision from an in alignment place. Number 2, hear. Listen and respond. Listen and respond to legitimate concerns. So when we say sometimes your body can be giving you messages and we say, oh, but your body's not your intuition, that does not mean ignore your body. Because if you ignore your body, then body and spirit are not in alignment. And, you know, your body, it's not really helping. So listen to your body. And if your body is in fear or having some other emotional response, take time to communicate with your physical body. Find out where the fear is coming from or other emotion that's arising. Find out what it is that the body is needing from you. Maybe it's just reassurance. Maybe it's helping it understand from your higher perspective. But get the body on board, bring the body into alignment. And also listen and respond to legitimate concerns from other bodies, if relevant. So we don't necessarily want to ignore everyone else in our life. And certainly if it's a decision that involves them and is a joint decision, or a decision that may have an impact on them, then we want to nurture our relationships. We want to listen to other people's legitimate concerns and respond in an appropriate way. And we do need to be discerning as to whether that person's trying to control us or whether, you know, the situation just calls for some kind of solution that takes that person into account. And then also part of here is, again, the intellect. It's part of the body, but I'm saying I'm just putting it as a separate thing because it's a strong part of the body. Acknowledge it, but look beyond it. So recognize it for what it is. Say thank you, that's great input, but I'm also going to go beyond you, intellect, and listen to my intuition. So clear, hear, and steer. So the steer part is tune into and act on your intuitive senses. So what do you know? What do you see? What do you hear? And what do you feel as spirit? What's your inner voice telling you? What do your trusted source and guides say to you? So tune into and act on your intuitive senses. So I'm just going to recap that. Clear out of alignment messages wherever they come from. Hear, listen and respond to legitimate concerns wherever they come from. And steer, tune in and act on your intuitive senses. Follow your intuitive guidance, which can be easier said than done, depending on what particular issue we're talking about. But I thought what we could do together is apply the clear, hear, steer right now. So if you're listening, well, obviously, if you're not listening, you
won't hear it.
So presumably you're listening and you want to do this, then choose a question right now. A dilemma, a question, something that you're looking for a clear answer, but you're feeling unclear. Some kind of decision that you're dithering about. And let's apply the above process. Okay. So I'm going to invite you to, so long as you're not driving or operating machinery, close your eyes and turn within. Just take a nice deep breath in and a nice deep breath out. And a nice deep breath in and out. And take a moment to be aware of an energy center near the base of your spine and create an energy flow that goes all the way from there to the center of the earth. So allow yourself to be grounded and have a way of releasing unwanted energy down your grounding cord. and focus your conscious awareness in the center of your head. So in considering this particular decision or choice, take a moment to listen to what out of alignment messages are part of this decision-making landscape. Who else is offering their opinion and their perspective? That's a polite way of saying, who else is telling you what you should do? And take a moment right now to release any way in which any other person is inappropriately trying to influence you. Release any interference from other people down your grounding. And then just tune into yourself. You are spirit, you are the one in the center of your head. But what else is going on around you in your energy field? What is your ego saying? Is your ego judging people, criticizing you, wanting to punish people, doing any of those things that an ego does sometimes? If you find it is, release that energy down your grounding. And also notice if there are things coming up from the past, patterns from the past, unconscious behavior patterns that are showing up as something that's out of alignment and interfering with your ability to make the best decision for yourself here and now. So release that down your grounding. So that was the clear. So now let's hear, listen and respond to any legitimate concerns, meaning what is your body saying to you? How is your body feeling about this particular choice? What's its main emotion? And if you find it's a positive emotion, that's supporting you. And if you find that it's a negative emotion, if there's resistance, fear, anger, frustration, guilt, shame, etc., then your body's got some kind of issue coming up. In which case, take the time to listen and understand where that's coming from. Allow yourself to release the fear and also decide if there's an appropriate action that you need to take to help your body come into alignment. Maybe the choice is to take on more work and your body's going, no, I don't want to do that. I need some relaxation time, for example. So maybe the action that you might take is have a nice soak in the bath or take a day off before you start the new project. Releasing energy down your grounding and also we want to take care of our relationship with our own body, but also other bodies that we care about. So notice if there is anyone who you might say has a legitimate concern. Meaning that this is a decision that does impact them, or is a decision that you're making together. And then just take a moment to tune into how they are feeling. And how you might be sensitive to their feelings. And how you might communicate to that person to help you collectively come into alignment. And then the next one was, if you are in analysis paralysis with your intellect, thank it for all of its facts and figures, but just allow yourself to stay in the center of your head so that you can also look beyond the intellect. Okay, and then finally steer the direction from your intuitive senses. Be in the center of your head, be grounded. Take some deep breaths in and out. And allow yourself to listen to your inner voice. Your inner voice sounds just like you. That's how you know that it's you. Tune into your heart. Of the different choices you have, which one feels resonant with your heart? You can feel the direction of the compass of your heart where it's pointing. And allow yourself to simply know your answers. You might move your consciousness to the top of your head, into your crown chakra, and simply know. And finally, move back into the center of your head and allow yourself to see an image, a vision, or a symbol that gives you some information that assists you in making your decision. So release energy down, you're grounding, and whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. And the idea is to put all of that together to help you eliminate out of alignment, interference that's causing you to dither, and bring you more into alignment so that you can feel clear about your decision. So I hope everybody found that helpful.
That was wonderful.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes. Maybe we can have people write their feelings about that while we take a break.
That's a good idea. So let's take a break. And after we come back, we will have a discussion about intuitive decision making. We'll answer your questions and we'll share your comments that you send to us. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you to all of those of you who are listening live or who are listening later to the podcast and the radio show. I hope you're enjoying this evening's episode, which is all about intuitive decision making. And it's that time in the show where we love to hear your comments and your questions. So over to Corey to find out what you're all saying.
Okay. Well, we've got Brian. Brian said, when higher guidance informed me. Oh, sorry. I lost this first one. But he said on his first comment, he says, it comes down to trusting it when it comes through is one of the main things that, and it's very, very, very apropos. We have to trust that. And in order to trust it, you've got to work with it a while, right? So, and then he says, when higher guidance informed me to leave my job, which had become toxic, it came through as images, feelings, a sense of words, but not a voice yet. It was a message. It was a strong knowing that went to my core. Though my ego didn't like it, I knew it was the right move. There was no doubt. It was a peaceful feeling, a soft energy, strong yet gentle. I didn't ask anyone else or tell anyone, so no one could interfere. It was also part of that inner knowing. It was a leap of faith into the unknown for sure. For me, when it was intuitive, the energy feels expansive. When it's my mind, the energy feels contracted or contracting.
All good observations, Brian. Yes, thank you for sharing them. And it's true, the trusting thing is big. Because I find, there's so many things that we have to navigate in order to really receive the intuitive message. But the next thing is, how do you trust it enough to actually take steps and act on it? And that can be a challenge, but it sounds like you followed your intuition, and in spite of some of those other forces that we were talking about. Great.
Okay, this next one is from Carol. And Carol says, I love that process. It's simple and powerful. I got an insight from my higher being. It said not to get caught up in my stories equals my fear-based thoughts. Thank you, Dr. Leslie. I needed this. Carol says also that she's glad to be back. She has been with us for a while.
Oh, great to see you again, Carol. Yeah, those stories, they define us, don't they? We let our history define us. Not even our history, our projections and stories that we tell ourselves about it. And yeah, it limits us, because we could live every moment with a completely free slate, and then we could really do anything. The sky's the limit. So I'm so glad that you enjoyed that process and that it helped you.
And that was from Carol, right? Yeah. Okay, and this is from Katie. Katie says, thank you. I was having a hard time deciding what I need to make a decision on. A real conundrum that is. Bringing attention to my crown made the top of my head tingle. What came to me was which direction is best to take next. Very good.
Okay, so she got an answer. That's great. That's great. So glad. I've answered all your questions by letting you answer them for yourselves this week. That's good.
That's a cop-out, Dr. Leslie.
Well, and actually, though, which is worth mentioning, because you all have intuition. You all do. I'm sure if you're watching this show, you believe that, but I meet people along my path who come for a first session with me, and they say, I think I might be intuitive, but I'm not sure. Can you confirm it for me? And you all are. We all are. No human being isn't, because we're all spirit, and our intuition is our spiritual guidance system, our spiritual senses, our way we communicate as spirit. It's our spiritual communication system. And so we all have it, but for many of us, it's been blocked because we're embedded in physical reality. And we've cast a kind of veil between that part of ourselves and this 3D human part of ourselves. But everyone has intuition. Not everyone knows what is intuition, which is why I took you through that process at the beginning to say, well, it's not this and it's not that and it's not this and it's not that, and this is what it is. So yeah, thank you. So do we have more comments or
Yeah, we have another one here.
Successful decisions.
Cesspool decisions, did you say?
Successful decisions.
Okay. This is from Mandarini. Mandarini says, I still struggle to differentiate between intuition and my intellect, hence struggling with decision making, slow process. What is it that's blocking me, please?
Well, we'll look at that. But you gave a clue just in the way you asked the question. You said, I don't know the difference between my intuition and my intellect. It's a slow process. The intuition is instant. The intellect is a slow process because it operates in time and space. To think about things, mull them over, weigh up the pros and cons of things, analyze things. That's the intellect. The intuition is an instant insight where it's just there. And what tends to happen for people is they will get the instant insight, and then because the intellect is used to being dominant, it will jump in and start to analyze the insight or question the insight or doubt the insight. And then people lose their confidence in that original insight that popped in. So I can look at what's blocking you, Andarini, but in some senses, it's the dominance of the intellect, really. And so the answer is, and I think I've taught you this before, but your intellect is something that belongs to the physical body. And so when we think about a problem, we tend to process it in the frontal lobes of our brain. So all the energy is forward here in that thinking part of the mind. But if we move our consciousness like we did in that meditation into the center of the head, into the pineal gland, now we're separate from the intellect. We can observe it without being engulfed in it. And now we can access those instant insights. So I'll look and see if I see anything else to say to you about you specifically and what is blocking you. And I'm seeing that the number one thing that comes up is not making a mistake, being sure that you're doing the right thing, being sure that you're not making a mistake. That fear of doing it wrong, being wrong, making a wrong choice is what's blocking you. Like wanting to make the perfect decision gets you into analysis paralysis or gets you into fear of moving forward and causes you to mistrust what your intuition might be saying. So I hope that helps.
Oh, I'm sure it will. I have an example of decision making that just recently has manifested itself really strongly within me. I play cribbage twice a week with a group, and it's teams of 4. So in cribbage, you get 4 cards, and you have to put one into the crib for somebody else. And sometimes that's a difficult decision to make because you don't want to throw a good card in. Also, you don't want to throw a good card away. And the funny thing is, sometimes I look at my cards, and I'm using my intellect to do it, and I'll toss out the card, and my hand will be terrible afterwards. The wrong card comes up. But then sometimes I go to my intuition, and my intuition says, throw this card out, which is something I would not throw out because it's not something you would do. But
Yeah,
I
because your
do it.
intellect is going,
Yeah.
oh, I've got
No.
2 3s. The chance of another
Yeah.
3 coming up is, yeah, you're into
Minimal. Yeah. And then I do that and I follow my intuition and I get the card that comes up that fulfills my needs. It's really, or even a card that's turned on the deck. We turn a card on the deck if you don't play crib, and that fits into my hand. It just, and I always go, when I think of it, when I'm thinking of it, I go, this card, such a card would be, I would really like such a card to be turned up in the cut. That'd be really helpful. And it's weird. At least half the times that card comes up. And
Well, yeah, I mean, and you know what? Sometimes those simple, fun ways are great ways to train yourself in your intuition. I once knew a lady who was an intuitive reader, and the way that she honed her intuition was she spent a lot of time waiting at bus stops. And so while she was waiting at the bus stop, she would use her intuition to predict when the bus was going to arrive. And that's how she gained confidence in her intuition. It's a little bit like your example, but even simpler in a way.
yeah. Well, we all make decisions every day. I mean, multiples of this, multiple decisions. Everything we do is a decision. Should I get a cup of coffee? Should I sit here? Should I have a donut? What should I have for lunch? And our brains get racked with all this garble that goes through it. It's so nice to have a clarity around what you're looking for. I mean, when you're driving, when you're going to work in the morning, and I think that's where a lot of people, even though they don't recognize it, their intuition comes in, but they don't follow it. Like I can take 2 different directions to work. The thought comes up, and what should I do? And then I'll just go my regular way, and then you get stuck in traffic. As opposed to if they took the other way, it would have been clear. Like it's just
I have a really good story. Actually, and for anyone listening, and I'm going to send out to my mailing list, I've created kind of like a new signature workshop. It's free. You're all invited. I'll send you an email inviting you.
Me too.
But I have a fantastic story about why I'll never ignore my intuition again. It's my I'd rather boil my head in boiling oil story. So I'm going to leave that as a teaser and invite you to come to the signature workshop, which will be coming up at some point in December.
Now you got me. My oh no, boiling my head in oil. I don't know about that one, Dr. Leslie. What are so the decision-making examples you gave us are really good. That 3-step process. Like how much do you have to practice something like that to get to be adept at it?
Well, I think that let's see. My Unlock Your Intuition course is an 8-week-long course. And I have a 90-day meditation challenge as part of that course. And the idea is that if you can meditate and use the energy techniques that I teach for 90 days, then you've established a habit of using those techniques, that now they are foundations for you to live your life from. And so those techniques are what I shared with you in the exercise and a lot more. So I would just say having a daily meditation practice where you become self-aware, where you examine your life, where you work with your energy to make the changes, the positive changes in your life and heal yourself. That in a very short time, you can turn yourself, your life, your ability to make decisions around. In fact, they've done a lot of scientific research on meditation, and it takes about 8 weeks for the brain actually changes when you meditate. And they have evidence in a period of daily meditations for 8 weeks, you have rewired your brain, you've changed your brain. Different parts of your brain have expanded and grown because you're putting in that focus. So I'd say, 8 weeks of practice can potentially rewire you for life.
Okay. This is from Lorraine. I put it on my list, but I missed it for some reason. And she says, "Thank you. Perfect timing. Considering relocating, now feel secure about the move."
Great. Glad to hear it. Wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
always nice to get good feedback. See if there's anything else has come up. No, nothing's come up there. Nothing's come up. Oh, nothing's come up here.
Well, so see,
It's
you can
actually, it's
do it.
almost
That's so
time.
funny. Like every week on the show, there's always lots of questions, except for this week. So it just goes to prove that you all can answer your own questions with your intuition.
Oh, nobody has to come back anymore to listen to you, Dr. Leslie. It's all done.
No, just download this episode and you're set.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I got one from Zach. Zach's here. See if we can squeeze this one in, Zachary. Okay. Oh, where do we go? Zachary says, on 3/13/2004, I said I would not doubt my intuition again, knowing a friend's baby boy was being born on my birthday at 2:15 a.m. I called him to confirm about 7 a.m. and he said yes, but hadn't told anyone yet. Oh, cool.
Well, what a great validation.
Isn't it?
And, we all have those stories as well, don't we? Where we have an amazing experience like that sort of makes you go, wow, it's real. It's real. It's amazing. There's more beyond the intellect.
Well, there is. And oh, just thinking about a meme I saw on Facebook, but I'm not going to go there. Anyway, Dr. Leslie, guess what?
It's time to end the show. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. And remember, Unlocking Your Truth is on every Tuesday from 7 to 8 Pacific time. If you're in the Fraser Valley, you can tune in on 101.7 FM on the radio. Anywhere in the world, you can tune into my Facebook page, my Facebook group, Awaken Your Psychic Abilities, or my YouTube channel, and you can catch us pre-recording the show 1 week in advance. See you all next week, same time, same place.